Hey, everybody, this is Perch, and happy January 6th, everyone. Hope you're having a great day to celebrate whatever happened on January 6th. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows January 6th is the last day of Christmas, and
Yes,
I think that's it's great.
that's what we all know about that date. Well, it is a time for celebration, and it's a
Yeah,
time for kind of putting your best foot forward for the new year. And I think if I've got this note here correctly, you're ready to put your best foot forward with some amazing, awesome pitches of comics that could get printed, could get published.
yeah. There are a ton of I feel like new year, new outlook
Hmm.
at comics. It's time to shake things up a bit. I think it's gotten a little stagnant where every comic that's coming out now is like some grizzled middle-aged man who did something wrong in his past that maybe we'll figure out later, and it's like kind of sci-fi but it's like kind of not. It's like grounded but there's like a little bit of jargon, and then there's someone in his life and his like past that like we get vague ideas of. It's either a lover or a parent or something that did something in the past at some point, but we'll figure that out later. And then there's a big twist at the end where it turns out that he's living in some city that's either like on Mars, or it's like keeping the kaiju out, or everyone's a vampire or something like that. And then two or three more issues come out, but they're all kind of delayed, and then like we all forget about it. So
Well, um, this is why you're getting that deal with Netflix right there.
that I mean, I think Netflix would it would be stupid for them not to greenlight what I just described, which is something that I think they've greenlit multiple times every year for years now.
Yeah, so they might as well keep that goal going. But you're about the new. It's a new year. You're saying let's do something brand new. And rather than continuing to complain about comics and all the problems within, let's actually help comics by getting a good pitch out there. Editors who I know are listening, whoever you happen to be, Alana, Heather, you're listening right now. We're going to give you some great ideas, and Joe's ready to be hired, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, Joe, it's to hit us. What is an amazing what's the amazing idea you've got in your mind?
Well, I think for a lot of people now, like I know, I read the Tom King Supergirl book, and I
Sure.
think for a lot of people, and feel free. I'd love to hear your opinion too.
Mhm.
Wasn't Tom King enough?
That's fair. It didn't feel quite Tom King enough. James Gunn just said in an interview that Tom King is one of his favorite writers of all time, and that Tom King's writing would definitely be influencing his new DCEU. That's not a joke, by the way. He just said this, and so it's very timely. How do you make a Tom King Supergirl story more Tom King?
Here's what you do. First off, you just call it with whatever happened to the Girl of Steel, so everyone knows you're just going for an Alan Moore thing.
Got okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's solid. Yep.
yeah. So then from there, here's the thing. That book wasn't nearly sad or traumatic enough.
It was pretty
The one
optimistic.
we got.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed pretty. I mean, even like they made her kind of a drunk, but a happy drunk.
Yeah, so yeah, there's not going to be any drinking here. It's going to be a lot of dealing with the just sober, soul crushing reality.
Okay. Okay.
And
Good.
here's the thing. So I know a lot of people don't remember this stuff, but I'm a big fan of the Silver Age of Supergirl. So you have your Linda Lee Danvers, and she wears the brunette wig, and she has a robot duplicate in a tree, and she was living in a foster home, and eventually got adopted by foster parents, and she was like very secretly Superman's cousin, and it was later revealed and all of that. So I think for this, what would be interesting to tap into is we never really got that resolution. Like what happened eventually to the robot duplicate in the tree and the other
Hmm.
children in that foster home?
Hmm.
So what if that robot duplicate malfunctioned and became a cold-hearted killer.
Okay. All right.
So and that just had vague memories of being Linda Lee Danvers in the foster home, and that foster home's still there. So
Okay.
there's this horrifying monstrosity that like kind of looks like Supergirl and is like kind of a robot, like a like the flesh is all off and it's like just like this
Sure.
decaying monstrosity in this tree that comes out at night and murders children.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Kind of like Cyborg Superman, only with more
Yeah,
children murdering. Yeah.
yeah, exclusively child murder.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
have this going on, and eventually, Supergirl, her old foster parents that also people are kind of like, yeah, whatever, who cares about them? Eventually, as this like Supergirl robot duplicate is like getting some memories back, like figures out that it needs to go try to talk to the foster parents, thinking they're like her parents, and it goes horribly wrong, freaks him out. She ends up murdering them, and
Sure.
all of this is like, well, Supergirl's off doing these other adventures, and it's about Supergirl finding this stuff out like in the papers, like, oh, there's this like murders are going on in this town, and she's like, oh my god, this was my old like hometown, and she's putting it together, and she goes there, and she starts realizing what's happening, and she's having flashbacks to all those times that Superman didn't want the world to know that they were related. So we can like intersperse these really dark moments of her being like told that her cousin, her only blood relative that's still there, wants the world to not know she exists and how small that makes her feel.
Hmm.
And she eventually has to confront this monstrosity with her own disfigured face, and in a lot of ways, it's her having to fight her ugly past. And
Nice.
I think that's more in line with what you would expect from that kind of Supergirl book.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you could even do a nice thematic tie where this story, kind of the first three quarters of it, of the Supergirl cyborg robot just murdering children, it's happening while Supergirl is on that Tom King adventure, while she's off planet doing her thing. So she comes back kind of having learned her lesson, triumphant, and then she gets drugged into this past. But I really like this idea of the flashbacks of just showing her just miserable. I think, yeah, Clark not acknowledging her existence. You could have things like her, going through puberty and getting her period for the first time, and nobody is
Yeah,
there. Like nobody is there, and just really unpleasant, dark things with this character. Maybe
yeah,
yeah, just awful. In fact, you could even do some things where she says like, "I hope I have a boyfriend someday," and then you could have her like confiding in this to Superman, and Superman's like, "An alien, you can't ever love anyone, you stupid girl," and just have her like then crying. That
yeah.
that that feels like Tom King.
And plus, it's also the girl, calling this whatever happened to the Girl of Steel. You also get that whole bit of like, well, the robot is like Steel, so it's like it's a layered title. It makes
It
you think.
is. I like
Yeah.
layered titles. It when I read books that have layered titles, I feel smarter.
Yeah, and because you did something simple like that with the title and make the book sound smart, the book is then good. And if people try to pick apart, the story or the continuity or the art or anything like that, you can just be like, "Hey, idiot, did you read the title? It's very clever," and then you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to deflect criticism, and it always works too.
Yes, it does.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. So what are you visioning? This is a limited series. I mean, obviously, if it's a comic coming out today, it has to be a limited series. So
Yeah.
how long do you need to tell this story?
I think 8 would be a good number, so let's make it 12.
Okay, yeah, eight's not enough.
Yeah, 8 would be enough to tell like a really tight story, but that's not what people are here for. So,
That's fair. Yeah, you do.
yeah.
You get and you can always insert more of these things. You could even, if you wanted to have multiple timelines going on, every now and then you could show a page of like Supergirl, with a therapist or something, just talking. The shot would just be her on the couch, kind of talking, and it's
Yeah.
happening in the future after this entire adventure is done. But we see that even after the horrible traumatic events, facing that past, having to bring up all these bad memories, even after succeeding in however this adventure is going to go, she's still miserable because we see a
Yeah.
little bit into her future and she's still unhappy.
Yeah, and then like around issue like 9, you can do an issue that doesn't have Supergirl in it. People love that when you have like a whole issue without the character, and
True.
it's just about the robot duplicate being in the foster parents' home while Supergirl's off on an adventure. But it's like malfunctioning, and her parents think that like the mom thinks maybe the dad did something to her because she's like twitching and not responding properly. So then it's like most of the issue is the two of them just like arguing and like yelling, and we keep going back to this like twitching robot, and like it almost ruins like their marriage.
Good.
And like this all happened, and Supergirl never knew, and she'll never know because this is at the end of that issue is where we reveal that the robot duplicate had murdered the foster parents. So
So
yeah,
even in the foster parents' last memories, last moments, they're fighting and there's misery there. So thinking
yeah.
about divorce, because divorce in comics is tight. So I like that whole plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I love it. So, and this, now you're writing this, is this something where you would want to kind of put this pitch in place and then convince Tom King to come write it, or would you want to write it yourself, or how would you do that?
I mean, I feel like he'd probably have a better handle on it than me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah,
All right. I love the depression. You're kicking us right off into some really, and that this fits kind of with where the DC universe is right now, which is very
yeah.
depressing. So I like that.
Well, yeah, but also, if it's a depressing comic, that means it's a good comic.
That's true. That is how that
Yeah,
works. I think that happy comics are for suckers. So I do like that we're trying to create a Eisner winning comic, and this feels like Eisner winning bait. Wouldn't you say?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it'll be filled with reviews from people being like, "I've never read anything with Supergirl in it before, but this is the best Supergirl comic I've ever read."
Yeah, yeah. That's a solid one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How what about over in Marvel side? Do you have anything for our buddies over there under the mouse?
Oh wow, yeah, no, there's plenty of stuff that you could do with Marvel. Well, one thing that I think they're just leaving money on the table is
Hmm.
we all know Jeff the Land Shark,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
big hit. Um,
Definitely one of my
there's a
favorite characters. Yeah.
there's a big market for that. So I feel like they're leaving money on the table by not having. Get ready for it, Susie the Scroll Cow.
Oh, that's true. That's a deep cut from the past.
Yeah. What's a good scroll name? Let's go with Nokyeth.
Hmm.
So Nokyeth's a proud scroll warrior
Right.
that was turned into a cow by Reed Richards back in like issue 2 of Fantastic Four, which has been mined to fucking oblivion by multiple people at this point. I mean,
We
John
might as well
Byrne's
do
gone
some more.
there, Bendis has gone there, a lot of people have gone there. So let's just go back. Why not?
Yeah.
Um,
Mine those hills. Yeah.
Yeah. So, now it's funny because this like proud scroll warrior is a cow.
Ah,
And it's going to be this story about this, warrior learning to be a cow. So it's really going to be about warmth and friendship, as well as a commentary on the inhumane treatment of factory farm animals.
oh, okay. All right. That's a twist there at the end. I was like, so is it
Yeah.
kind of like, and the cow is unhappy? Is it kind of like a grumpy cat? But because grumpy cat is absolutely in 2023 one of the most talked about internet personalities there is. Very timely. But this is
Yeah.
like a cow. So it's a scroll warrior, no ability to be a warrior. This isn't a warrior cow. It's just kind of a
Yeah.
depressed, trapped cow trying to deal with its own mortality and I mean, does it? I mean, any kind of funny bits like it takes sexual pleasure from getting milked or anything like that?
Um, pro- I feel like not. Well, we don't want to, promote the use of those like machines to like milk cows or anything like that. So we would probably want to avoid that. But
Okay.
the idea would be, eventually, Susie the Scroll cow gets out and has, fun adventures on like, I don't know, like the beach or an amusement park, whatever people like to, when they're scrolling on their phone and they just want to see a stupid animal character in like a park or something. It's for that.
Yeah, except this is a cow, which is
Yeah,
hilarious.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. So like you could have the cow in like a bumper car, and that's funny because the cows don't belong in there. And then you could
Yeah,
have the cow like getting,
move it.
yeah,
There you go.
exactly, very nice.
Yeah.
Cow could be getting ice cream, and then realize kind of mid eating of the ice cream that it's eating kind of its own milk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then getting kind of grossed out. All right, so this sounds like a Marvel digital title.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where the market is. So that's you gotta chase that.
Susie the Scroll Cow.
Yeah,
I like it. All right, all right. So you're firing on all cylinders here.
thank you.
I like these ideas. Okay, so we went with depression, and now we've gone with kind of. I'm still kind of hung up on the. You've got kind of what seems like kind of a wacky animal adventure, but it is under the underpinnings of factory farm treatment and horrible conditions. That one feels like it can get a little dark as well.
It could, but you get dark, but you make jokes about it because that's how everyone gets through life. I mean, like look at these Marvel movies. They're they enjoy having some fun, making jokes about like cancer and stuff like that. Like, but like stage 4 cancer is the worst that we know of, and like jokes like that. So like this fits in right with all of that.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. So, all right. Well, so what is so but you don't have, I mean, do you have a passion inside for writing Supergirl or Scroll Cows? These, I mean, these aren't, as we've talked a lot, these aren't your favorite characters.
Yeah.
They're good pitches, but
Yeah.
but you have some favorite characters you've always wanted to write, right?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think enough people probably know that I enjoy characters like Spider-Man, but one of the characters who is most important that not a lot of people have had a chance to write over the years is Ben Parker.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true. Okay.
And we've talked about Ben Parker before. I believe I had a pitch about Uncle Ben in the past, like having to stop Doctor Octopus, and that's what led to him getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of nostalgia, combining some older, well-regarded Batman storylines, and like blending it with something from Spider-Man. Ben Parker Murderer.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
Here's the thing. It makes the character more sophisticated and adds a level of irony. And I think it's important to do this because now there's an extra meaning when Ben Parker says with great power comes great responsibility, because he's actually coming from a place where he did not learn that lesson and is trying to pass it on to Peter. That makes it deeper and therefore good and beyond criticism.
Okay, that's fair. In fairness, you could also say that his quote of "with what if you had it that with great power comes great responsibility" has just been misunderstood by Peter and the readers all this time. What Ben was actually trying to convey was, you got a gun, you got to use it. You kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So the great power is his gun, and the responsibility is to go out and murder people.
Exactly, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
In this version, Ben Parker is actually Roy Dunlap, a serial killer with a penchant for stealing people's identities.
Okay, nice. All right, I like it. I like how we could also take that phrase that's been so iconic. I mean, hell, even Aunt May used it in the absolutely stellar and beyond criticism Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yes. You take this phrase that's so popular in comics and you ruin it for all time.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think it's important for people to, a good comic is a comic that puts a bad taste in your mouth when you go back and read comics you used to love.
I agree. I think that's the point of comics today, is to ruin it for future generations.
Absolutely. So, and I can't think of one that'll ruin more people's comic reading experiences than Ben Parker Murderer.
What if you also had it revealed that Ben Parker was struggling with sexual feelings for Peter?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Now you have an out because it's not really, his Uncle Ben.
True.
It's
some other pedophile. Yeah.
It's a serial killer who stole that, Ben's identity. Like the real Uncle Ben's like been dead for so long.
That would be an interesting twist where Peter has to come to grips with all this. And you kind of put people on an emotional roller coaster where he thinks these horrible things are happening or has happened with Uncle Ben. And then he realizes it wasn't Uncle Ben. But then he also realizes that Uncle Ben was just has been dead for a long time, maybe dead for an embarrassing, terrible way.
Yeah.
Like,
and this also gives us a great opportunity because you know how people love to bring back older characters from comics that they didn't read, and then they just do whatever they want to them, and in every interview they just talk about how, like, well, no one really knew this character, so I really got to do whatever I wanted with this character, even though there were hundreds of issues or at least dozens with these different characters, and that there are people that do remember that character and read them, but fuck them, right?
I can't imagine any writer saying something like that, but maybe I'll suspend my disbelief.
Yeah, so this is a perfect opportunity to tell this sort of like prequel kind of story and use a young Jean DeWolf is going to have been investigating these murders and is getting closer and closer to figuring out that Ben Parker is actually serial killer Roy Dunlap. So, it's really a Jean DeWolf story.
Now, you don't tell anyone it's a Jean DeWolf story until like late in the comic, and then you just kind of surprise readers with like, surprise, it's the main protagonist is somebody completely different.
I don't think you ever tell the reader. You just do it, and then they can figure it out or they can't. Whatever.
Yeah. Why Roy Dunlap?
I was just at a random name generator on Google, and I just hit it a few times, and Roy Dunlap, that sounded fine.
Okay. Because he's a famous pianist, right?
Yeah, but he could be a serial killer too. Don't put people into boxes based on their profession.
All right, that's fine. I think he did the score for Wes Anderson movies, but yeah, that checks out. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, those movies. I mean, I love them, but like, I could see why a serial killer would love those movies.
Yeah, that's fair. That does kind of make. All right, so if I'm keeping track now, you've got a superhero subverting expectation story, and then you've got an alien kind of sci-fi cow story. Now you've got a heavy retcon subvert expectation story. It's a lot set in the super universe. Any kind of other genres in there that you have? Something for like a slice of life or cooking or anything like that?
Oh yeah, no, the really booming market is slice of life, so of course I have to cover that. So for that one, we're going to go back to DC to continue the progression of putting out more and more slice of life comics. And so it's Dead Man, a slice of life.
Oh, I see what you've done there. Okay. So Dead Man, that's a character that has no real history. It's pretty much a blank slate. You could do whatever you want with.
Exactly. No one really knows or cares about this character who's been published for decades with a rich history. So that gives me a lot of room to sort of do whatever I want with the character.
Now, the character is most notable for kind of just floating around and inhabiting bodies and then putting them in embarrassing situations and then leaving. Yeah. Okay, that's what we've got.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's lightweight possession. So in this case, you've got the dead, but this is okay. It's a play of words. Dead man, but slice of life.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Boston Brand may be Dead Man, but he has so much.
Boston Brand. Okay.
Yeah, but he has so much life left to live.
Ah, I see. So much. Yeah. Okay. So this is an uplifting story then.
It's a bit uplifting, but don't worry, it also gets sad.
Okay,
So,
okay. We gotta
um,
sell the comic somehow. So yeah, it needs to go somewhere.
yeah, exactly. So, we're going to have this guy, Adam Wilson, who's a 39-year-old man whose life didn't end up how he wanted it. He
Yeah.
never got the love of his life, or his career didn't pan out as he jumps job to job, and everyone else around him is succeeding, and he feels like, he's falling through the cracks. In a lot of ways, Adam is more dead than Boston Brand.
Ah, oh, okay. I'm liking this pitch. This is rehearsed. I like it.
Right? But together, they'll be more alive than they've ever been.
Oh, so this is a kind of a buddy, almost a buddy romance.
Yeah, so the thing is, Dead Man can inhabit other people and they don't remember those situations, but together, Boston Brand can go back out on dates, meet people, and he can take pictures and leave notes for Adam, so that way he can eventually get those experiences, and then he can end up following up with the woman that they're going out with, and like together, Boston Brand can help Adam find the love of his life.
Oh, okay. So Brand, I get it. So Brand has a lot of life to live, and he's going to show Adam what that life could be like.
Exactly.
Well, that's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the things he's going out to do, this is a slice of life part. It's not kind of he's not taking Adam out to go solve mysteries or anything like that. He's taking him to brunch.
Yeah, but like there are so many superheroes in the DC universe. I think Dead Man can go out for, brunch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, nobody gives a shit about that. But I mean, he can
Yeah,
give. He basically he's taking Adam out on some very, just nice experiences. Visiting the Statue of
exactly.
Liberty for the first time, maybe going to a boat and like going to the front of it and putting your arms out like that scene in Titanic that's still very relevant 30 years later.
Yeah, you could do stuff like that. You could he could take oh could take a girl out to his favorite to get his favorite slice in New York, Sabaros, because everyone watches The Office, and that was a joke in The Office.
Yeah, it's official New York pizza.
Yeah, so we can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe even go to Hibachi. Really double down on the Office references.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'd just be cute. And then you have all these things you can play with, like because Adam doesn't remember what Boston did. So like he'll leave some notes and like leave some pictures, but like Adam doesn't necessarily know all of it. So like he'll wake up and he'll, be trying to like have a follow-up conversation with the girl, but he doesn't remember everything they had talked about. So she's like, "What are you talking about?" I said that. And he's got to like play it cool. Like there's a lot of potential for
Good comment.
light humor. Yeah.
Yeah. So so you said this kind of goes sad like everything else. What's the sad part?
Well, the sad part is, at the end of all of this, Dead Man set up Adam Wilson's life, but he is still very much alone.
Uh if you wanted to double the sadness, you do this entire thing where he puts together the relationship with a girl, but she just it doesn't work. And so in addition, so then Adam and Boston both experience heartbreak. And it's
Yeah.
sad, but at the same time, it's a feeling. And can you really say you've lived a full life if you haven't had heartbreak?
Right, absolutely. I think all of us have had to borrow a feeling from time to time,
Hmm.
perhaps need to be lent a jar of love,
Ah,
but,
okay. Very
yeah,
poetic. I mean,
exactly.
you could have the kind of the end of Adam's walking down the beach and he's feeling the sand under his feet and
Yeah,
he's reveling in this tactile sensation and Boston's kind of floating along behind them, both alone,
yeah,
both with a new appreciation for life, even though he is dead.
absolutely. Because even death is no excuse to stop living.
That's true. You could put Riley Rossmo on art. It would fit this concept very well.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I like. Okay, that's slice of life. That's kind of that's a heavy topic you've got there. I like this. So
Yeah.
Dead Man. Wait. What was the title again?
Dead Man, a slice of life.
I like it. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very very nice. You're giving them really solid ideas here.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to think so. You got to put thought into this stuff. These are comic books.
That's right. And according to YouTube copyright law, you if you even give a hint of one of these ideas in your comics, you owe Joe a big commission.
It's true. That's
how
how
it
all
works.
this stuff works.
Yeah.
That's why you just flood every creator's DMs with every idea you've ever had, so you can sue all of them constantly.
That's right. They like it, actually. They like the attention, and then it makes you money. It's a win-win for everyone. So definitely,
Absolutely.
I see sometimes these people trying to engage with creators on social media. They try and kind of get them to talk, but the better way to do it is just give them tons of story ideas inside of DMs.
Yes.
And then if that fails, you can print out your ideas, put it in envelopes, and just mail it to them using the old mail. And you could just do that multiple times a day until you thoroughly overwhelm them.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to figure out different ways to get ahead in the game.
That's how you get rich in comics. Yeah, blackmail. What other big pitches do you have?
I was thinking about, we both love the Matt Fraction, David Aja, Hawkman, or not Hawkman, Hawkeye.
Why don't they get Fraction and Aja to do Hawkman?
They should. It's leaving money on the table. But
they could do the exact same story of having Hawkman be kind of a loser in an apartment, but instead of kind of being dopey with hearing problems, this Hawkman is just like an angry man.
Yeah, anyway. Absolutely.
All right, I'm going in the wrong direction with this pitch. You go ahead.
No, that's fine. So I was trying to think of another character Marvel could, fraction, for lack of a better word. And I was thinking Wonder Man, and here's what we do to make it clever. Wonder, Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Yeah. So we go that way. So now, Simon Williams, he's going to be written like an out-of-touch loser.
Okay.
Just give him the full-on Fraction Aja Hawkeye treatment. He's going to talk like he's 2000 and late.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to make sure he's saying all sorts of phrases unironically, like "sucks to be you." Let's not say we did. Even was that.
Nice. You're going to use was that?
Yeah, he's gonna say that. All of these sort of things that make him painfully out of touch, but it's been so long since those phrases were cool. It's now going to be cool unironically after ironic. I think that's how this goes. So yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, no, that works. That will fraction those sales for sure. Yeah, I know. I like that. Okay, so who's the antagonist though? Who do you have him fight?
It's not so much an antagonist, more so it's Cersei showing up to tell him how much he sucks every issue.
Oh, okay. So Cersei does that. So maybe he's kind of fighting the readers.
I mean, he could be doing that. He's got to fight the tracksuit vampires. See how much I love this run, but the tracksuit vampires, because remember from the other thing, and then the other stuff. It's like, who cares? I don't know. Fight you got to look through. The important thing here is you go through a Wikipedia and you try to look up some of the villains that the kangaroo. That's funny, right? So we can fight the kangaroo. The spot's kind of funny. I mean, the spot's very 2000 and late, so I think that would be fun.
Maybe you give him a pet dog who can talk and just every now and then spouts out "Yo quiero Taco Bell" or something.
Well, I think in order to make it fit well with the Fraction Aja Hawkeye. You have to irresponsibly give a dog copious amounts of dairy.
Okay. Yep. That fits. Yeah.
Because it's great. You got a rescue dog, so now you're gonna feed it pizza because it's funny, even though you're killing that dog.
Well, sure. I mean, nobody. I'm sure a lot of people read the Fraction Hawkeye book and thought it would be funny to give their dog pizza.
Yeah, that's it's not great.
Not great for the
bad.
dog. No.
No, it's not great for the dog, and it quickly becomes not great for you.
Well, but it's funny.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way, it does make it worth it. But
that could be the tagline for this book, though. Not great for the dog and not great for you.
Yeah. So let's not say we did.
Wonder Man. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Wonder Man. All right.
Yeah.
You got to set it up though. I mean, because he's been in the Marvel universe. He's never been at that A level, but he's going to split it around the Avengers bunch. Do you have it just like he thinks about calling the Avengers and getting his old life back together, but then he doesn't, and or just they're all tired of him? How do you reconcile the rest of his world?
Oh yeah, nobody wants to talk to him or really deal with him, and it's always awkward because every issue he'd have to like run into like Iron Man or Cap or someone like that, and they're like disinterested and they just want to get out of the conversation or something like that. Because even though it has nothing to do with the character's history or previous comics or ties into any other storylines, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
What if you also because he's an actor, right? So he's very vain.
Yeah.
What if you had that as part of the storyline? He got a lot of like Botox, and it's it started to go weird. So like he can't smile properly anymore. Or it's just like his face is weird, and that could be also funny.
Well, yeah, because then the joke is like you do the Botox in a way where it's he looks like he has a permanent smile on his face. So then you get the bit where like he's walking down the street, he looks at like a woman, and he's got the big smile. And she's like, "Oh!" and she slaps him across the face.
Yeah,
and it's a misunderstanding, and then they were all like, it's funny because she didn't understand that he got the Botox, and she thought he was like being a pervert or something like that.
Well, I mean, one of the backup things you could do there is that because he's ionic energy, you reveal that everybody he's been around for an extended period of time has cancer now.
Yeah.
But like you say, he still has that smile on his face and it won't go away. So he's getting these news and having to go and maybe do an issue where he's talking to all the people that he's hung out with. And he's like, I'm sorry, you probably have cancer. You need to go get checked out. But he's grinning super, super happy the entire time.
Oh,
and so you get through this entire issue. And at the very end of this issue, after he's told everybody, he's still smiling, but you see like a single tear going down his face because he can't do anything but smile.
And then Susie, the Skrull cow, walks over and licks the tear off his face.
Ah, nice.
And then he says, I can't even feel it because of all the Botox.
Or he could say, where's the beef?
There, that's true.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I think Fraction would come back for that.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, spending time at home. I don't know. Anyway, what? All right. We've got. You've taken us on quite a roller coaster. You got. Do you have some other big ones in there?
I've got one more here.
Okay.
Here we're going to go back to sad.
Okay. So thank goodness because we've been away from sad for so long.
Yeah, no, we were getting a little too joyful. So this last one here is Lonely on Infinite Earths.
Okay, Lonely on Infinite Earths.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
So we're going to meet Jim Daniels. He's 25 years old, and life just isn't going how he thought it would. You see a pattern here. He's doing what he loves, which is being insufferable and beloved as a cartoonist. But no matter what, he just can't be happy. Like, his brain isn't structured in a way that allows happiness. you know?
I like it.
So this is happening. So he's like dealing with, depression, despite everyone saying he's the greatest and it's never going to get better than whatever Jim Daniels is doing. And then some magic bullshit or whatever happens that's really forced and feeds his ego, or where he's able to see different versions of himself across the entire multiverse.
Oh, okay. I like some magic bullshit happens.
Yeah, the catch, he's really lonely in all of them.
Okay, so he's miserable infinitely.
Yeah, so it really begs the question, like, is loneliness inescapable?
Okay. Okay. There's some deep, heavy thoughts you have going on here. Even though it's a crisis on Lonely on Infinite Earths, do you have any DC involvement? Are there any superheroes in this, or is it mainly just focused on this guy who is miserable?
Only the vaguest hints of DC superheroes. Like they'll be on like the news, maybe in like the newspaper, on TV. People have like toys and like games, but we'll never actually see like a superhero doing anything super heroic because, we want to avoid this being a superhero comic at all costs because they're the worst and we should be ashamed of ourselves for making them.
And reading them, all the way.
Yeah.
It's to grow up, people. All right.
Absolutely. Channel your inner Gary Groth and tell superhero comics to fuck off.
That's exactly. So this is Jim Daniels.
Yes.
Not Jack Daniels. That'd be
not Jack Daniels, but close. Okay. You'll probably want some Jack Daniels.
We could have him. Well, that could be kind of the joke, is he goes to kind of drink his depression away for being so lonely, and he asks for a Jack Daniels, and then he's Jim Daniels, and then that could kind of the bartender be like, you sound like the alcohol, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a combination of Jim Beam and Jack Daniels, which is totally not what I did when coming up with that name.
Oh, okay. So where does it? But how does it go? So he sees all these lonely versions of himself. What does he do next?
Eventually, he just has to come to terms with the fact that even though he's lonely in every version of the multiverse, he's still the greatest cartoonist to ever live, and he'll just have to figure out a way to be okay with that.
Okay, and so can it have like a Sopranos like ending where he's starting to come, he's coming to grips with it, and he seems to have some realization, and he starts to mention it, but then that's where the comic just ends.
Oh yeah, no, this is good comics like this that are deep dives into our own emotions and the idea of loneliness. They can't have a satisfying conclusion because life doesn't have a satisfying conclusion.
That's true. Yeah. Unless you happen to be one of those people who gets to have sex with a supermodel while falling to Earth, skydiving with a defaulting faulty parachute.
Yeah, but I mean that there was no multiverse where that happens.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Who's the artist on this?
Oh, you can go in a lot of directions here. It's You don't want to do a superhero artist because that's terrible, and no one likes that.
You get like a Sienkiewicz, though.
You can get a Sienkiewicz. I think if you really want to lean into something, but like I mean this might be more of like a Jeffrey Brown or a Kate Beaton kind of thing, like that kind of feel.
Yeah, something where you can really feel the unhappiness. Yeah,
like you want to be miserable from start to finish.
Okay, well, all right. There's a lot of unhappiness here. So to recap, we've got a psychotic Linda Danvers robot.
Yes.
That murders children. Okay. Then we got a Skrull cow. By the way, the Skrull cow, we never kind of wrap that up. What happens at the end? Does the Skrull cow eventually just become burgers, or?
No, the Skrull cow just goes off on adventures, so you can just have nonsensical web comics where she's like in a park or on a beach or something. Because who cares?
That's true. You want to keep this IP alive, so you can continue to find it. All right. Then you got Uncle Ben, murderer.
Yes.
Okay.
which is really a Gene DeWolf comic, but
Yeah, really, right, really a Gene DeWolf comic. Then you have Dead Man, Slice of Life. Okay.
Yes.
And then you have Wonder Man.
Yes.
Is it Wonder Man just Wonder, comma man, or Wonder, comma man question mark?
I think it's just Wonder, comma man. The question mark, I feel, would just make it
too cheap.
You want to have some fun. I feel like that elevates it to a point where it's not going to be accessible to a larger audience to add the comma. So
that's fair. That is fair. Yeah. And then finally, Lonely on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
These are all, well, aside from the Scroll Cow, these are all kind of depressing.
Yeah, well, those are the comics that people don't shut up about and win awards. So
you want to win an award, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah, no. This is why else do people do this?
Well, I mean, certainly not for the. never. You know what? That wasn't going to go anywhere, any good directions.
There we go.
Well, Joe, thank you very much. I hope we can make some of these comics. I mean, I wonder why. We have a lot of listeners to the show. They hear these pitches. I would hope somebody would take some of these ideas and run with them. I mean, hell, your Lonely Earth story could be just that. You could do that no matter who your comic company is. That could be a crowdfunding comic tomorrow if you want to.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, so I hope some of our listeners here take these ideas and actually make the comic out of it. Put it out there, face the lawsuit if necessary, and remember to write Joe that check.
Yes, please.
Yeah, royalties, man. Well, Joe, thank you very much, and let's do this again soon, and I'll bring some ideas your way, and you can revel in kind of my sick mind.
That would be fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.